You're listening to the Joe and Rosa Show, proclaiming the gospel through word and through song.
Hi, and welcome to the Joe and Rosa Show. I'm Joe.
And I'm Rosa.
And with us today we have author Ann B. Say. How are you today, Ann?
I'm great, Joe. How are you?
I'm just fantastic. And, well, we were just talking. You have a new book that's going to be coming out soon. Can you tell our listeners about your book, tell them the name of it, and a little bit about what it's about?
Yes, we're very excited. This one is titled Daring to Hope, and it is simple, everyday tools for defeating discouragement. The content in there is a little bit different. It starts off really with understanding your purpose in life, kind of your life purpose. And that chapter is an overview, kind of a sampler of the identity development workshops that my husband and I lead. So it addresses a lot of hard data, like self-assessment tools, like personality patterns and spiritual gifts and communication styles. And then it also includes who God says you are uniquely. And we just find that we get a lot of traction in life and faith when we take the blend of the hard data and then the spiritual end of our relationship with the Lord and who He created us uniquely to be. So we're developing that, and we also are going to follow the book with a workbook. And then this winter, I'm excited to say that we are filming a DVD, so the whole book and the content will be able to be presented in a small group format.
So the whole thing is interactive. It's going to be book, workbook, DVD, kind of daring to hope across all the spectrums, huh?
Yes, yeah. Really intend to help people find hope in their circumstances and really learn to love the life and just lead and launch people into their destiny.
Yeah, and that's really important for people to sort of know their purpose. How do you help them tease out what that might be that God has for them?
That's a good question. We always start with Scripture. We always start out of the gate with biblical principles that you are uniquely created. We stand on Psalms 139, that the Lord knit us together in our mother's womb, and that He has in our DNA passions and in the plan for our lives, abilities and skills and experiences that all kind of come together. And we put it together a little bit in a puzzle piece format. So we look at self-assessment tools that help us understand our personality patterns and how we respond to certain things and communication styles. And then we also look at abilities and skills and experiences and just things that find us joy. And when we put all these things together, people start to develop a list of dreams, a bucket list kind of dreams that they would love to do in life. And in a small group format, we really just put these pieces on the table and have the Lord kind of guide and direct conversation. And people start to see, like, wow, I really have always wanted to do this. Like, for example, in my own particular story, when I got to the part about looking at Scripture, and because I have done these tools, forever in my teaching career and in some small business coaching, when I looked at a particular Scripture that was really kind of meaningful to me, almost like a heart verse, that Scripture is a 7-word sentence, and it resonated so deeply in my soul that it literally shifted the course of my life. And that text is in Matthew chapter 5, when Jesus is preaching to his followers on the hill, and he looks at them and he says, "You are the salt of the earth." And when I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm the salt of the earth. Well, what on earth does that mean? And when I started to look at salt, there's two really characteristic things about salt. The first is that it is designed to preserve food. And the second is it's used to bring out the flavor in food. And what resonated in my spirit was I am passionate about helping others be the best version of themselves that they can be. And so then the question was, well, how do I do that? So I just took what I know and I looked at my experiences and I said, well, this is kind of how it all came together for me. And in the same way we work with our people in our small groups and the one-on-one coachings that we do, through the course of dialogue, I started to shape out this identity development course. And then people come to me. I work one-on-one with a woman who's just simply trying to finish up a Bible study. It's the very first study she's ever written. It's wonderful. She has an evangelical heart, and she shares Jesus wherever she goes. And then she has this little following. She doesn't know what to do with them. So she was writing a Bible study for new believers. But I've also just finished working with two women who are in middle-age years, and they're like, well, what do I want to do now? So we kind of take the hard data of our self-assessment tools, and we take dreams and visions. We're all about creating a dream list, like a bucket list, dream list, And we kind of look at them together and we say, well, okay, well, where do the dots connect? And at that point, we become what we jokingly say, we're professional dot connectors. Where do the dots connect between the identity data and the dreams and passions in a person's heart, and how can we lead and launch them into that?
What things do you think get in the way of people following those God-given dreams, the things that, as it says in the Bible, were put in us from before the foundation of the world, these good works? What things are there that stop us in our tracks, basically, that instead of pursuing them, we just kind of either sit on them, ignore them? What do you think it is happens, and how can we overcome that?
That is such a great question. The biggest thing that I find is people get shut down with what I call an embarrassing past. My youngest daughter used to say that her mama was a good girl with a really bad past. And I think we carry guilt over our past, and we think, well, I could never do that now because I did that back then. And as a matter of fact, we're creating a video that we're planning on giving away this fall. I think it's titled How to Turn an Embarrassing Past into a Positive Future. Because I think we get shut down, we get a guilty mindset, and we think, well, I could never. Because I grew up with a lot of uns. I felt unworthy, I felt unable, I felt unappreciated, and those uns held me back. So when I listen to people, I think I hear so much about why their past is a reason that they can't go forward into their future.
Wow, that's deep. That's something to think about. Let me ask you, Ann, you have put out a book before. What was your first book, and can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, my first book is titled Seasons of Change, and it is an interactive personal growth journal. And the neat thing about this journal is the reader is invited to respond any way they want to respond. If they're a writer, they can journal it. If they're a doodler or a hand letterer, they can create it that way. If they're a painter, I encourage them to get a canvas and paint, dance, compose a song, however they choose to respond. But each one of the 12 journal assignments in that book are designed to encourage people to take some initial steps in shifting their mindset. In one case, it might be communication. In one, it might be a relationship. There are 3 entries that are devoted specifically towards knots, kind of those knots in your stomach that tend to hold you back. All of those assignments are rooted in Scripture, but they're all designed to do that Romans 12:2, to shift a mindset to something that's true and that's positive and productive, where God can begin to use them to move forward, to break them free, so to speak.
Well, that's pretty interesting stuff there. Let me ask you, it seems like a lot of your ministry and a lot of what you work toward has to do with moving forward and making positive changes in your life. What is it in your life that you feel really inspires you to be a person to encourage others?
That's a great question. What inspires? I think the joy of sharing what I experienced myself. I tell you briefly that I learned these tools, over a long period of time. We try to share them in a short period of time so that people can really move forward, get unstuck, and move forward in a shorter period than it took me individually. But I remember, as if it were yesterday, the first time I had an aha moment that my thinking was off, but my mindset wasn't in a healthy place. And having that shift set me free in such a way that my heart and my mind had never felt before, that I kind of have become a mindset evangelist, because I thought, if I can get free like this, and my life, the quality of my life can go up exponentially, then I just want to share that with other people, because the more people that we can set free, then the better the world is going to be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are completely right about it being a mindset, because in the Bible it says that we need to have the mind of Christ, also that we need to daily be renewing our minds. And so if you could tell our listeners where they can find you, your blog online, where you write about all these different things, and tell them where you can find your book.
Great. My website is AnneBSay, ANNE, B as in boy, SAY.com. And I use the B, Rosa and Joe, because it's sort of a sticky thing, because Ann B saying something.
Yeah.
And so you're going to want to hear it. All of my books are available on my website. I also have a YouTube channel where I upload videos every week. They might be a devotional kind of thing. It might be just a mindset moment. I'm launching a Mindset Chat podcast. All those will be linked through my website. And the good news is my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all Ann BSay.
Okay, well, that sounds so great. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for being on the Joe and Rosa show today.
Well, thank you, Joe and Rosa. It's always great to chat with you.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Joe and Rosa Show. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. I would encourage you to check out Anne's blog online. That's AnneBSay.com. You can find Rosa's blog at lifeinsidethehouseontherock.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Joe and Rosa Hopkins, or you can find us at joeandrosahopkins.com. We have some other shows on there, some other recordings that we've made, and plenty of music. And, we've enjoyed spending a Sunday afternoon with you, and thank you, and God bless.